Let's discuss about the fusion, interrelated, and overlapping elements. Let's begin with fusion. Fusion in art happens when artists from any creative field like music, painting, or literature work together with brands such as fashion or even charities. A great example is folk art fusion, where artists mix traditional folk styles with modern techniques to create unique and colorful artworks. In music, we also have jazz fusion, like combining jazz and rock or funk. This shows that fusion is not just about combining styles, it's about creating something completely new and exciting. Now, let's talk about interrelated art forms. These are art forms that may look different, but actually work closely together. For example, in a movie or stage play, acting and designing are two separate roles, but both help express the same vision of the director. Even in painting or sculpture, you'll notice similar concepts like form, color, and space. These interrelations show that the arts don't work in isolations. They support and enhance each other. Finally, let's look at overlapping. In visual arts, overlapping is when one object is placed over another to create the feeling of space. This is important in paintings, especially since they are two-dimensional. Overlapping tells the viewer what's closer and what's farther away. It can also be used to blur the lines between objects and making it seem like one thing transformed into another.
Now, we're going to talk about one of the examples of fusion, interrelated, and overlapping arts. It is something you have probably seen on walls, streets, or overpasses, and that is graffiti. Graffiti, also called street art, spray can art, or aerosol art, is a type of visual communication. It can be drawing, a word or symbol done in public surfaces like walls or trains. It is actually considered illegal because it's done without permission. But despite that, graffiti is gina-consider Japon siya by many as a true form of artistic expression. Now, how is graffiti made? Graffiti artists uses tools like spray paints, markers, or paint rulers. Some artworks are small and quick, while others cover entire walls and take hours to complete. Kani nga movement nag-start around 1968 during protests in the Atlantic. In Europe, students in Berlin and Paris used graffiti to express their political views. And in the US naman, it began in Philadelphia, then exploded in New York City, especially in subway stations. Now, let's break down the 5 main styles of graffiti. These styles show how graffiti is not just scribbles. It has structure, technique, and purpose. First is ang tag. It is the simplest type of graffiti and it's like a signature. One color, quick, and usually the artist's name or alias. It is a way for artists to make themselves known, and this style came from the 1970s and 1980s. Second naman is ang throw-up. It is bigger and more complex than a tag. It often uses bubble-style letters and 2 or more colors, pero it's still done quickly. Throw-ups are meant to stand out more than a tag. Third is ang black blaster. It is made to cover a huge area fast. It uses blocky letters and is often done with paint rulers. Iyahang goal is to claim space and stop other artists from painting over it. It's like saying, this wall or space is mine. Second to the last naman is ang wild style. It is when graffiti becomes hard to read and uses arrows, shapes, overlapping letters, and complex design. Only graffiti artists or fans can often understand it. So, For non-graffiti artists, maglisod sila og sabot. Last is ang heaven. It's not about angels, but about heights. Heaven tags are written in a hard-to-reach places like rooftops or tall walls. It's dangerous, and artists who do this often earn respect from others. Graffiti is not just about breaking rules. It's about being seen, about sharing messages, and about taking back space in cities. While some still see it as vandalism, many recognize it as urban art, a voice for the streets.
Poetry, also called spoken word poetry. So, according to Dave et al., poetry composed to be performed live, emphasizing wordplay, tone, and intonation. So, and less effective in print and thrives in oral delivery. So, poetry performance is like spoken word poetry. Dili siya ni maotong typical na poem na ginabasa lang nimo siya sa books. Dapat i-perform jud bitaw siya like with feelings or emotions. Performance poets. Artists who perform their poetry live or via radio may lack formal academic training but connect with diverse audiences. Some academics question their credibility. They democratize poetry by engaging broader audiences. That is according to Language is a Virus. So, performance poets are those people nga mo perform sa ilahang poems live like sa events or even sa radios. They're not always those classic academic poets. Sometimes they talk about pop culture or real life issues. Kana siyang poets kay maka-reach jud siya og wider nga audience kay ano man siya relatable or relatable man siya. That's why performance art. Performance art is live presentations, acting, dance, poetry, etc. that are ephemeral. That is according to Encyclopedia Britannica. Performance art is different from poetry. Dili siya poetry lang. It's like a mix of everything, like dance, acting, painting, or even mga weird stuff like robots or ritual. Point manggod ani is to make people think outside the box. It's not just for entertainment, it's about the message. Historical context included body art, guerrilla theater, and political activism. That is according to Sandstrom. Feminist artists like the Guerrilla Girls use it to expose social issues. Back in 1970s, performance art started as something super edgy. Mga feminist activists using it to call out unfair things. It was all about breaking rules and making people aware, like art with a purpose, not just pang display or modern examples. Ice carving sa Baguio Creative Festival na art na temporary lang pero wow kaayos siya guys. Ang second is a dance group nga nag-perform sa Philippine-China relations. Diba? See? Performance art can be anything. Maka-impress mga tao. Maka-deliver siya sa message sa audience.
Digital art is an art made using technology like computers, tablets, or smartphones. Artists use software and digital tools instead of traditional materials like paint and canvas. Examples are digital paintings, 3D models, animations, and photo edits. Artist creativity is expressed through digital technology. Examples of early artists in digital art. Frieder Nake is a pioneer of digital art. He created a computer algorithm to make art in the 1960s. His program allowed computers to draw patterns and shapes automatically. This made him one of the first to combine math, technology, and creativity. Kenneth Knowlton and Leon Harmon. In 1966, they created computer nude studies in perception. It's a picture of a nude woman made with computer pixels and symbols. Their work showed how computers could be used for art and visual perception. Thus, this became an iconic early example of digital art. The first example of digital art is digital painting. Digital painting is creating artwork on a computer instead of using paper or canvas. Artists use tablets, stylus pens, and software like Photoshop or Procreate. It looks like traditional painting but is done digitally. In short, it's painting with technology.
The second examples of digital art is digital photography. The process of capturing images using digital cameras or electronic sensors which stores photos in digital formats instead of traditional film. Ranges from personal snapshots to professional art with tools like photo editing software enhancing the creative process. The key features of digital photography. First, faster image capture and preview. Second, easy storage and editing. Third, integration with digital platforms like social media and websites. One of the best examples of digital photography is The Migrant Mother, the reinterpretation by Dorothea launched in digital version. A modern photographer may recreate iconic historical images using digital cameras, lighting adjustments, and editing software to bring historical scenes into a contemporary digital context. The third examples of digital art is sculpture, a three-dimensional art form that involves shaping materials such as stone, metal, clay, or digital media to create objects or figures. Contemporary sculptures has expanded to include digital modeling, 3D painting, and mixed media that combine traditional techniques with technology. The key features of sculpture is first, three-dimensional formed. Second, may use traditional or digital tools. Third, can be physical or virtual. One of the best examples of sculpture is Cloudgate by Anish Kapoor. While this is a physical sculpture, digital techniques were used in its design and fabrication. Today, artists create fully digital sculptures using 3D modeling software, such as virtual sculptures exhibited in online galleries. The fourth examples of digital art is digital art installations. Art immersive experiences that use digital technology to transform spaces. They often involve projections, motion sensors, virtual reality, sound, and interactive elements. The key features of digital art installations is first, immersive and interactive. Second, uses projections, lights, and sound. Third, often site-specific and temporary.